So on the next part, we're going to do the inside pocket. And I've jumped ahead because my phone's playing up. And I've laid the two slip pocket pieces right side together, and I've sewn across the top. Now you will press this open to get a nice crisp edge before pressing it again here. Just checking it is still rolling. Yes, we are. Obviously you will press this. You should press this. Highly recommend it. I've top stitched all the way across the top, and I'm going to lay this on top of one of the lining pieces. Now, to help you level up, you could lay it on your cutting mat. And just check that it's even on both sides, or you can measure it, it's up to you. Just going to pin it to hold it there. Now what I need to do is base stitch all the way around the bottom, leave the top open. So once we've base stitched our pocket to our lining, just need to decide how you want to split the pocket, or if you want to split the pocket. So I've folded mine in half, and I've drawn the centre fold, and I'm going to top stitch up the one side and then down the other. But if you want, you could leave it all open. You could stitch two lines to make a little pen pocket. I'm just going to go with one side, then the other side. There we go. I'm just going to iron away my marks. This is what happens with some of the pens. This is why I don't normally like drawing lines unless I'm going to stitch on top of the line, because you can see I've got a slight bit of ghosting that's appeared. It's not a worry because of this fabric, it's okay, but if you were using, say, an all black or a dark print and you had this white line appeared, so I always say, unless I'm going to stitch on top of the drawn on line, normally I use washi tape. But I didn't today, and it bit me on the butt. But there we go, that's our one side done. So we can move on to our zipped pocket. Now with the zipper pocket, you've got two pieces the same size. And I'm going to just flip them both over so they are right side down. To make the turning gap neat, I'm going to fold up the bottom part. So to do that, I'm going to draw a 1-inch line up from the bottom. So if you've got directional fabric, make sure it's the right way up and do this at the bottom. Mine can go any which way. I've just realised I've got two run in different ways, so I think I want this one to be the one I want to see, so I'll put that one over there. But first, actually, silly me, we need to fold up the bottom, so I'm going to fold up the bottom to meet the line, and I'm going to give it a press. There we go. See, I'm 2 steps ahead of myself now. So I folded the bottoms up to meet that line. Obviously my line's disappeared, but as I was saying, I've somehow ended up with 2 different ones. So pick the one that you want to see when you open up the pocket, which will be that one, I think. So I'm going to put that one over there, and I'm going to draw my box for the pocket on this one. I'm going to flip it over, and remembering that this is the bottom, I'm going to draw myself a box. So to start with, I'm going to draw a line 3/4 of an inch down, and another one 3/8 of an inch below that one. And to make the rectangular box, I'm just going to connect these two together 3/4 of an inch. Obviously all the measurements are in your pattern if you're not following. So I've ended up with a rectangular box. Right, so we're going to take our lining piece that we have left, and I'm going to lay my piece with the rectangle drawn on it. I want it to be 3/4 of an inch down from the top and centered in from the sides. So to find the center, you can fold both pieces in half. You can fold the main one in half and the pocket in half, and then line up the center fold. Or you can do as I have just done and used my quilting ruler to measure down and find the centre. Now I'm going to stitch these together now on top of the line using a regular stitch length. Don't worry about the lines that extend to the sides, just sew the box. So I've just quickly removed the lines so you can see that I have just stitched the box shape. Now to turn this through, we just need to draw some little lines. Refer to your pattern with how to draw the lines inside the shape. But I'm going to draw one centre line across, and then about 1/2 inch in, I'm going to extend to the corners to make a triangle. I'm going to cut across these lines now. So I'm going to get to here, and I'm going to stop, and I'm going to cut into the corners, not too close, because you don't want to cut the seams, the stitches, but if you don't get close enough, you'll end up with wrinkles in the corners. I have enough wrinkles. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press this up, and I'm going to press this piece down, and I'm going to press the sides in. Then I'm going to post this through here so it's on the reverse. roll the seams between your fingers. And give it all a good press. So I'll come back now. So it's all pressed lovely. Got nice neat lines. How it looks on the back. Now before we put the remaining lining piece on, pocket piece on, we need to add our zip. So I've gone for orange to match the orange, but I've gone for a different pull because, would you believe it? I've got a box full of zipper pulls. Not a single orange, but I quite like matching them up, so it's good. Mix and match. So you want to make sure that your lining is facing up, your zip is also facing up, and your pull is on the left. Obviously, if you were left-handed, you might want the pull on the right. But generically, if you were selling, you put the pull on the left. So I'm going to place this over the top. If you wish, before you do this, you can add a bit of glue to here, or some small strips of tape. But as my machine is very temperamental with both, I'm going to wing it. So I've laid my pocket with a hole over the centre, so it all looks central. And I'm going to top stitch around the box to secure them together. Zipper is in. Now I obviously didn't cut my zipper to the pattern, so mine is extended past the pocket. I'm just going to trim it down. Now if you've used continuous zipper tape like me, or you have cut your tape, I do recommend using a bit of fray check on the ends, because zipper tape can unravel. So once you've done that, I'm going to take your remaining pocket piece and I'm going to match up the folds of the bottom, and I'm going to clip the pocket piece to the other, one to the other, right sides together. If you're using pins, just make sure that you don't pin through the lining as well. So mine, I've just clipped these two together. So when I sew it, I'm going to do it from this way so that I'm going to start from here. I'm going to sew up here with this folded back, and I'm going to sew down here, and then I'm going to sew down here, and I'm going to stop and leave this open for turning. So I've sewn them together. This is open for turning. This is important. You need to open your zip. Open your zip, otherwise you won't turn the bag. As we did with the outer now, we need to find the centres of our gusset and our main lining pieces. So I folded mine in half. Fold this one in half to find the bottom. So I'm going to speed this up because you don't need me to explain this again. It's exactly the same as the outer. I'm going to match the bottoms up. I'm going to clip these together, stitch them together using a regular stitch seam allowance and stitch length. Then I'm going to do the same with this piece. So hopefully this next 5 minutes or so in won't take long to watch. There we go. So I've sewn it all together. I've trimmed the seam allowance as well. But as you can see in the pattern, I've left these little tabs at the top, which just make it easier when you're folding the seam out, pressing the seams open. If you've only got a little seam, it makes it a bit harder. So we've done our lining, we've done our outer. So here's where the fun begins. We need to add in our zip. Now to do that, I'm going to turn my bag inside out, right side out. I think I've also put in the pattern to stitch these seams open. I'm going to do that now. So you don't need to go crazy, we're just keeping the seams open, so when it comes to constructing it's just a lot easier. Now excuse my clicker for a sec. One more, there we go. So here's where the fun starts now. This is where you're going to start shaking your head at me. Now I found out after that this zipper method is very close to the butler method. So credit to Amy Butler, Amy Lynn Designs for this zipper method. Now this is all real good fun. I've got a 14-inch zipper here. It's what I felt comfortable. Any longer and it's easier to get twists. So I've gone for 14. You can sew over the ends to keep the zipper on, or you can simply pop a clip in it. I'm just going to pop a clip in it for now. So as I was saying, I'm going to turn my zipper over, and with the zipper facing wrong side to the bag, this is how I'm going to do my first bit. Before I do that, I need to make some measurements. So on the side of the bag, where you see the point go down, I'm going to mark this. If you were using fur, fabric, cotton, etc., you can pin it. I have chosen to go fluffy. So with your pocket facing you and your zip facing right side down, we're going to start on the left side, end of your zipper to meet the marker, the centre marker. And I'm going to clip it all the way around. This is where those open seams come in handy now, because you're not worrying about those. Try and match it, the edge of the tape to the top edge of your bag as best you can. Go all the way around to that centre on the other side. So if you had cotton linen, this would be really easy for you now, because you need to measure from the end of the zip with the raw end 1 inch in and mark. So for me, that's the end there. Why I've grabbed a pencil, I don't know, because that's useless. See if I can make some kind of visible mark. I've used the wrong tape. I've marked my finger. Right, okay, I can see that. If you can't, don't panic, I can see it. So I've marked my 1 inch line. Now on the end of the zipper with the zip, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches in from that centre. 1.5. Why make them up there? There we go. So I'm going to base, don't worry about this bit, leave that bit for a sec. So I'm going to base stitch the zipper to the bag, only going from the one marker to the other. That's all. Don't worry about these bits, just from there to there. If you have a flatbed, I do apologise. You might have to flip your bag inside out, or you can transfer the markings to the inside. If you were using cork and you didn't want to keep flipping your bag inside out, transfer the markings to the inside and sew it from the inside there. I've got a removable bed, so I can do mine from the outside. But I think it's still going to be a faff because it's quite thick. Do you know what? I'm going to do it from the inside. So I'm going to make my marks a bit more visible. Sure, it wasn't this faffy when I did the other one. Now to do the other side, you're gonna need to watch this now. I'm gonna turn the zip up here. I'm just gonna clip it there so I know where it is. And I'm going to start again from this side. So end to the center. So as you can see, there were no twists in my zip. So I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to mark 1 inch in from the raw end, 1.5 inch in from the zipper end. I'm going to transfer the marks to the inside, and then I'm going to base stitch. Right, so this isn't in the pattern, but I'm going to say it. I recommend taping the zipper in place. Double-sided tape or glue. I've made so many of these and I've never had a faffy one until now. There's always going to be one. It might happen that your one, the first one, is the faffy one, and I wouldn't want you to scream at me. And I think you're wondering what we're going to do with these zips now. So at your marker, my machine that way. I'm going to take the end of my zip and I'm going to rotate it so it's pointing upwards. And I want the teeth of my zipper to be as close to this marker as I can get it. And get your zipper pointing as upwards as you can get it. Same on this side. Somehow I haven't sewn all the way to my marker. So I'm going to make sure that my zipper is at the marker. And I'm going to base stitch these in place as best I can. There we go, so that one's pointing up and I've kept it to the line, which is good. I used my awl there just to help the zip stay in place. Obviously I don't want to do it with my fingers. So both have stayed by the marker, which is good. Good, good. If you can put your outer inside the lining, but it is quite a squeeze. I know some people like doing it that way so that they don't have to turn the bag so much, and you can just pull the outer through straight away. But the problem I've got now is I've got quite a large outer and a smaller lining, so I'm going to have to turn this way. With your zipper, just make sure that it's carries on down neatly. You don't want any twists. You want it to carry, push that down out of the way. You can even tuck it under the D-ring if you want. But what I mean, I don't want it to be, you know, mangled a bit, or when it comes to clipping these two together, we'll just smooth this out. I'm going to turn my lining right side out. And I'm going to put this inside the outer with the zipper facing the back part and the slip pockets facing the flap. Match up the seams on the corners, open them up and clip them in place. I'm going to smooth my zipper out of the way before I clip this one. Smooth my zipper across. I'm going to add some extra clips now all the way around, smoothing the zipper down as best I can. So with these, this side with the zip, I'm just going to push it down, but just make sure it stays flat. Push it down, keep it flat. Press it down, but keep it flat. So when sewing the sides, remember to follow your guides that we drew on earlier to keep that nice point on the sides. So I'm going to stitch these together, regular stitch length, regular seam allowance. I'm just going to make mine slightly longer because I have got the cork. I'm going to start on the back. If you have got a flatbed machine, you might find it easier to sew it from the inside. Probably be easier for me too now, but I'm committed. There we are, sewn together. Oh gosh, I've tried to keep the V as best I can, but I have got a little wibble wobble there. I haven't even got a V on that side. Oh my god. Right. Now, I'm going to reach through and I'm going to pull the outer through first. I normally find it easier to find the flap, and the rest kind of follows. I know this is a crime, squishing cork. Do it as quick as I can. Don't worry, it'll rest. It'll be fine. I'm just smoothing out my curves. Time to close the pocket. Take any rascally threads, cut them off. I'm going to meet these folded edges together now. And using a regular stitch length, so as close to the end of the edges of the fold as you're comfortable with. We must be nearly finished because my tummy's rumbling. I'm pushing my pocket back in and the lining in. Lining in, pocket in, do the zip up. Now you will try and get the best edge you can by rolling it and clipping or pinning in place. Whew, had a panic then. Thought my zip was on wrong. It's okay, it's all good. Right, you can sew this however you feel comfortable now. So my main thing is obviously I want my stitches on the outside to look neat. So I want to sew it so I can see the outside. So I'm going to sew it on here, this way. If you have a flatbed and you're not too worried about the outside, say if you had a linen and you can't really see the stitches anyways, you could sew it from the inside from here. If you don't have a removable bed, you're using cork, you want to see the outside stitches, turn it inside out and sew it this way so you can see the outside. Do it the best you can, turn it around, find out what works for you. I'm going to go this way. When it comes to the end with the zipper, lift your zip up out the way and sew round. I'm going to start from the back on one of the sides. There we go. So thankfully my zipper ends meet nicely. My zip's out of the top nicely. Now I just need to get my zipper end and my strap, and we're very nearly done. Very nearly done. So let me just go and find my zipper end. Once you've found your zipper end, and I've got my strap ready, We're nearly finished. So close. I've only got these thin ones. You can get wider ones, which obviously make it a lot easier. What I'm going to do, I hope you can, just making sure you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm going to fold these around. That looks really faffy then. I'm going to fold whichever way folds nicely. And I'm going to pop the zipper end on. Push the zipper right to the end. If you want beforehand, you could just put a little bit of glue inside. I do say a little bit. I'm going to use my awl to poke in a pilot hole because the screws are tiny and it's got to go through zipper teeth and all sorts. Just made a pilot hole. There we go, nice and tight. That's not going anywhere. We got my strap. Click it on and it's completely finished. Give yourself a huge pat on the back because it's not a beginner pattern. If you are a beginner, wowie, well done you. Just make it all look nice and tidy. Get rid of any bits of fluff. I quite like to tuck mine in. I don't like to see it. There we go. Halcyon handbag. Now time for Chucky. Any problems, message me. Any questions, please ask. I don't always get notified of the comments, so have a look below, see the Facebook page and pop on over to there. My testers are also in the group, so they can answer any questions that you have that I might not see. But I will try my best. On the pattern as well is also my email. So if you don't feel like asking a question publicly, just pop me a message and I'll do my best to help you out. Ta-da! Thank you for watching.